I come from a long line of violence. My mother had issues with violence when she was a child with her father, and when she met my father, he was quite abusive verbally towards her, not so much physically, but I know he drank a lot, and they divorced when I was 9. So when he left, we were forced to stay in a shelter for a time until we were able to find a place. So we moved when I was 16, and I met my abuser when I was 16 years old, and he was our next door neighbor at the time. He was much older than me. He was, in fact, 23 years older than me at the time, and I just kind of latched onto him, I think, and I just thought he was the greatest thing. I thought he was cool, and he paid attention to me and made me feel kind of special. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I'm sure it did, but we started dating when I was 16, secretly. No one knew about it. Obviously, he would have gotten into a lot of trouble. And when I was 17, he started to prod me into telling my mother about our relationship because he wanted me to move in with him. So I did. I moved in with him at 17 years old, and it started very slowly. It was very progressive in terms of the abuse. It started off very verbally with the mind games. He was very cruel at times. He would call me names, make me feel very worthless in the beginning. It took about a year for him to start throwing things at me, hitting the walls. He harassed my mother so badly in the attempt to isolate me from her that she moved. And at that time, I think I was 17 at the time, I had nobody. I didn't know where my mom lived. I was all alone. And he started to hit me when I was 19. When I went to college is really when it got bad. And the first incident that it had happened, I made dinner late. And he started verbally bashing me like he normally would, and he had essentially broken up with me, and I was kind of taken aback because we had been together 3 years at that point. And he started to drink. He was a pretty heavy drinker when I met him, but he scaled back as we started to date. But he picked up this drinking again, and he woke up about 7 o'clock in the morning and ripped me out of bed by the hair. And I tried to leave because I knew in my mind I'd witnessed this before. I knew where it was going to go, and I didn't want it to be a part of my life. I always said that I would never let someone do that to me. When I tried to leave, he grabbed me by the nape of the neck and slammed me on the floor about 30 times. It got so bad towards the end that I thought he was going to kill me. The worst had ever happened. We had gotten into a fight over someone hitting on me, and he was upset that I didn't cause a scene and smack the guy or something, and knelt on my arms and smacked me in the face and bloodied my nose. And the fact that as the blood's running in my eyes, he didn't stop. There wasn't anybody there. It was just nobody. There was nobody behind the eyes. It was just soulless. And aside from the physical abuse, he also was very sexually abusive towards the end. And he would do things that would physically hurt me. And when I would ask him to stop, he wouldn't. It's very real. I think people don't understand that it's real because you think, oh, you're married, well, that's his right or whatever. But no, it's nobody has the right to inflict physical pain on anybody or to humiliate you. 9 times out of 10, I let him do what he needed to do, and when he went to bed, I would cry myself to sleep. He was at work one day, and I was home and feeling pretty bad after a fight, and when he went to work, I started looking on the web to see what was out there in terms of a hotline, and I found the Women's Center and called the hotline, and it set the wheels in motion, and they gave me some education in terms of what my options were, that I didn't have to take it, that it wasn't my fault. The most important thing that I think people need to remember is that they need to be safe. And you're not safe when you're in a relationship like that. Take the step. It's the most difficult, I will not lie. It's the most difficult thing and the scariest thing you will ever do in your life. But in the grand scheme of things, in the long run, you'll be so glad you did, because you only get one shot at this life, and here I am. You know, I'm here. My life couldn't be better. I mean, I have problems just like everybody else, but they're normal problems now. They're not the problems that I had before. So I'm studying psychology to help women in the way that the women helped me. So things will get better once you get away from that. And they have for me, and they will for anybody else too.